बच्चे एग्जैक्ट 3 o'clock will start. कोई ज्वाइन नहीं कैसे पता जो ज्वाइन हो रहे कैसे पता चलेगा ज्वाइन हो कर दिया वो लोग ज्वाइन कर ले ज्वाइन हो गए तो फाइल क्या
कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। A very good evening to all present. Today, I, Nishtha Tiwari and Nidhi Khurana, welcome you all on the occasion of World Down Syndrome Day, WDSD 2023. Today is an important occasion as we all have gathered joined here to mark the celebration of World Down Syndrome Day, which is observed all over the globe. This year, the theme is With Us, Not For Us. Down syndrome, referred as trisomy 21, which means the presence of 3 chromosomes instead of usual 2 chromosomes at the 21st position. This was initially discovered by Sir Langdon Down in the year 1866. He observed that children with Down syndrome has unique physical features and typical learning styles. Now, we proceed towards the inaugural of this event by Master Avnish, National Awardee, Down Syndrome Advocate, Young Mountaineer. We welcome Avnish with a huge round of applause.
शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः ज्योतिर्जनार्दनः दीपज्योतिर् शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरु त्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
We wish to showcase the life journey of Master Avnish, a true inspiration for us all.
We are very pleased to showcase the life journey of the youngest national award winner, Little Master Avnish. He is indeed an inspiration for us all. Mr. Aditya Tiwari sir from Indore received the loudest applause when he adopted Little Avnish Tiwari. He is the youngest awardee of the National Award for the Empowerment of Persons with Disabilities. These are some glimpses of Master Avnish receiving the National Award from none other than our revered President. Master Avnish was the recipient of this national award and also the loudest applause at a packed Vigyan Bhavan, being the youngest of all the recipients of the national awards till date. Little Avnish is a warrior. He has Down syndrome and some other medical conditions, but despite these challenges, he has never let himself being held down. Mr. Aditya fought a 2-year-long battle and overcame several obstacles to become the single parent and the proud father of Master Avnish. Mr. Aditya met Avnish, who was formerly known as Binay, on September 13, 2014 in Madhya Pradesh at the Missionaries of Charity, also known as Jyoti Nivas. Avnish was just 6 months old at that time. After facing numerous difficulties and tribulations, Mr. Aditya finally adopted little Avnish in 2016, and since then he has never looked back. In fact, we are all very, very happy to know that Mr. Aditya is a true supermom and he has received numerous accolades. Little Avnish has come a long, long way from being part of the Special Olympics Bharat to joining his father on a trek to the Mount Everest base camp at a very, very young age of 7 years. Avnish has come a long, long way already. Master Avnish has also featured in several interviews, newspaper articles, and media reports. He is indeed a very special child. We all welcome Master Avnish today and wish him all the very best for his future. Thank you so much, Master Avnish, for being with us virtually today.
Thank you, Master Avnish, for the inspiration you are. We wish you all the very best for your future. Now we welcome our Honorable Professor Dr. Jayanti Pujari Madam, Director, Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, Dean, Rehabilitation Sciences, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh. Ma'am, please.
A very good afternoon to one and all. And on behalf of Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, Amity University, it's my great pleasure to welcome all the dignitaries, participants, my faculty colleague, and all the panelists to this August occasion, such a great occasion on the World Down Syndrome Day. I place on record, before going to welcome other dignitaries, I place on record our heartfelt thanks, gratitude to our beloved founder president, sir, Dr. Ashok K. Chauhan, our chancellor, sir, Dr. Atul K. Chauhan, for their constant support, encouragement for all efforts to create awareness, to accept and celebrate the diversity in the Amity fraternity. I also welcome amongst us our Honorable Vice Chancellor ma'am is there. I welcome our dearest Vice Chancellor ma'am, Dr. Balbinder Shukla, for this August panel discussion. I welcome Dr. S.K. Srivastav sir, our mentor, and the head of Amity Foundation of Developmental Disability for this panel discussion. And the panelists are, with great pleasure, I welcome all our panelists. Mr. Aditya Tiwari, India's youngest single adoptive father. Dr. Shanti Aluk ma'am, chairperson and founder Muskan. Dr. Indumati Rao ma'am, regional advisor, community-based rehabilitation network, Bangalore University. And I also welcome our Mr. Ganju, Mukund Ganju, self-advocate who is working as a data entry operator, who is having an independent living in the world. This panel discussion has been planned to celebrate the World Down Syndrome Day. The theme is with us and not for us. And this is, I think, the Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences is a teacher training institute. We are committed to prepare competent human resource for the disability rehabilitation. And I feel all our students, when they will see the successful persons who are pioneer in this Down syndrome field, it will really have a great impact on them. The message of with us, not for us, is a key to a human right based approach to the disability. Once again, I welcome you all and I wish you all the best, and I hope this panel discussion you will have lot of takeaway knowledge with you. Thank you so much.
Now I request Dr. Anusia K. Yadav Madam, Assistant Professor, AIRS, to please introduce Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla Madam, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh.
Thank you so much, Ms. Nidhi. It is a moment of privilege and immense honor. We have amidst us our strength and inspiration, our Honorable Vice Chancellor, Madam Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla. Dr. Shukla, in a true sense, is an institutional builder, and it is a special love and affection which has helped Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences strive towards excellence for the social upliftment of the society. May I please now invite Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, Vice Chancellor, Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, to kindly address the August gathering in celebration of the World Down Syndrome's Day. Professor Dr. Balwinder Shukla, please. Respected Madam, kindly unmute yourself, please. Thank you, ma'am.
Very good afternoon. A very esteemed panelist, Dr. Indumati Rao, the Regional Advisor, Community Based Rehabilitation, Dr. Shanti Olak, Chairperson and Founder of Muskan, Mr. Adit Tiwari, India's youngest single adoptive father, and Mr. Mukund Ganju, self-advocate working as a data entry operator with the CBRE, my very esteemed colleagues, Dr. Srivastava, Dr. Pujari, the faculty members, and all the participants. First of all, I, on behalf of Honorable Founder President, Honorable Chancellor, all the deans, head of institution, faculty members, and on my personal behalf, I extend very warm welcome to all our esteemed panelists on the celebration of World Down Syndrome Day with us, not for us. And as we all know that Down syndrome is a neurogenetic condition in which a person has an extra chromosome. Individual with the Down syndrome have an extra copy of the one of these chromosomes. That's the chromosome 21. Hence, Down syndrome is also referred as the trisomy 21. As we know, the people with the Down syndrome have an IQ in the mildly to moderately low range and are slower in speak other than the other children's. So this extra chromosome often leads to physical features and developmental challenges for the children, which can occur in the with the people with Down syndrome, and therefore managing the children with the Down syndrome at the early age is extremely important to give them the good life. And I was seeing the presentation in the video that where Mr. Aditya, the uh, the youngest single adoptive father. I would like to congratulate you, Aditya, that you have adopted a child. Try to give a good life to him, and really, we want such people to come forward and adopt the children and take care of them right from the beginning. And Dr. Olak, I've heard that having a your good career in DU, and then that your motivation behind starting the Muskan, and not only giving taking care of your own uh, son, but at the same time creating the awareness among other people and taking this mission of how to manage the children with the Down syndrome. And I really, my hats off to you for taking this, starting the Muskan and changing the lives of so many people. And so because since the Down syndrome is a lifelong condition, and therefore the services the early life help the babies and the children with Down syndrome to improve their physical and intellectual abilities, and and help them to develop their full potential, uh, 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 where the the services can be maybe with the speech, maybe occupational, or the physical therapy, and these are all offered to the early intervention program in each condition of the Down syndrome, and because they need the extra help in the schools, at home, uh, and many of them, these students, then are in the sit in the regular classes in the inclusive schools, where the special attention is also given. And as we know that the um, that people with the Down syndrome, their learning abilities affected, the style and ability of the children and adults. However, with proper training, can achieve inclusion and success in mainstream society also. Therefore, it requires a lot of dedication and commitment, and the hand holding, and training the it requires special care, and um, and uh, so many of the we have seen a lot of success stories. The people with Down syndrome, they're working as a entrepreneurs, or they're working as a climbing mountains, or working as a data entry operator, or many other roles, and which are the inspiration to the youngsters. And I would like to congratulate Professor Srivastav and Professor Pujari for the celebrating this day, uh, you know, and creating this awareness among the public, that how to really help these special children at the early age. And Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences is dedicated to bring that difference in the lives of special need children. And I'm sure under the leadership of Dr. Srivastav and Dr. Pujari, many initiatives are being taken for especially um, the special needs children, and how to bring them to the mainstream, and also at the same time creating the capacities who can work in the society. But the most important is, many times we are not able to um, you know recognize very easily. So therefore, creating the awareness is very important. So, Professor Srivastav, I would like that it's not only that this day we are celebrating, but I think during the year we need to have some kind of maybe the quarterly or something. We should create the awareness among the all the people in the university, and where our youngster also, faculty members also know. So in case in their neighborhood, or in their family, or in neighborhood, if there's any such case is there, how as Amity we can help. And so therefore creating such kind of awareness and starting the such services is extremely important. So I'm very thankful to our special guest today, Dr. Indu Mati Raoji, regional advisor of community-based rehabilitation, for sparing your time and being with us. And I'm sure that your words of wisdom are going to not only educate the present participants, but also it will be giving them the way forward, how to help the society and the community. I would like to thank Dr. Shanti Olakji for your presence, and I'm sure that everyone is looking forward to hear your story, that your motivation, and your work, uh, what you are doing under Muskan. And Mr. Aditya Tiwari ji, I'm truly, truly like, very thankful to you, and I'm sure my these students, young students who are sitting here, you'll be great inspiration for them. that how we can really take care of this special category of children. And Mr. Mukund Ganjuji, extremely thankful. You are really an inspiration to the young generations that how you have overcome in your life, and you have made and you have come to the mainstream, and working as a professional. And I'm sure this has been possible because of the lot of sacrifices, lot of hard work which your parents have done for you, and and the people at the school, and the others who have helped you at the workplace. How you are managing. So your story is going to be highly inspiring. That if you have a will, if you have a desire, and if you have the commitment, and you have the support around you, you can really have a normal life. So I really salute your parents, and I congratulate also your parents that who have given you the made you what you are. But more importantly, how did you develop your own willpower is the above everything else. So we look forward to hearing your story also. With this, I congratulate Professor Srivastava, Dr. Pujari, and the entire team, organizing team, for putting in this wonderful program to create awareness, and bringing all the inspiration and the motivational persons before the participants. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, madam, for your encouraging and inspirational words of wisdom. Thank you so much.
Now, let's welcome our enthusiastic students of Integrated B.Ed. M.Ed. SLD, ID, and ASD Semester 2 for group dance performance. The participants are Urvi, Shreya, Swati, Simran, Tarun, and Shruti Singhal. Can we have a huge round of applause? Thank you.
सूरज जैसे चमकेंगे देखे है साडी अखियां ने है सपने अंबरांदे ए सपने अंबरांदे बूंद बूंद जोड़ेंगे पल पल दूर दूर बह जाएंगे फिर नाल समंदरा दे फिर नाल समंदरा दे असी ऐथे खड़े है जाना पड़े ना कम हमको तो असी सदते अड़े जनूनी बड़े ऐ दिल के कबूल एक जिंदड़ी मेरी सवाइशा एक एक मैं पूरी करा
कोई
Wow, that was a powerful performance. Yeah. Thank you for joining in, everyone. Now, we would like to hand over the stage to Dr. Anusaya K. Yadav ma'am and Dr. Sampurna Guha ma'am, Assistant Professors, Amity Institute of Rehabilitation Sciences, for panel discussion on optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society.
Thank you. In celebration of the World Down Syndrome Day 2023, with us, not for us, we now take forward the event celebration with the panel discussion. The theme of the panel discussion is With Us, Not For Us, Optimizing Education for an Equitable and Inclusive Society. Our most esteemed panelists today who have joined us for the panel discussion are Mr. Aditya Tiwari, India's youngest single adopted father. We welcome you, Mr. Aditya Tiwari. Dr. Shanti Aulak, Chairperson and Founder, Muskan. We welcome you, Madam. Dr. Indumati Rao, Regional Advisor, Community-Based Rehabilitation CBR Network, Bangalore University, India. We welcome you, Madam, at Amity University, Uttar Pradesh, Noida, in celebration of the World's Down Syndrome Day. And we have Mr. Mukund Ganju, self-advocate, working as a data entry operator in CBRE. We welcome all the esteemed panelists with a huge round of applause. May I please now invite Dr. Sampurna Guha to kindly introduce our esteemed panelists.
A very good evening to all the respected panelists who have joined us today on this wonderful occasion of World Down Syndrome Day 2023. Let me introduce Dr. Indumati Rao. Dr. Indumati Rao is a founder and regional coordinator of the community-based rehabilitation CBR network that works in 8 South Asian countries. Dr. Rao has contributed widely and in depth towards building the movement for inclusion of children, adults, and senior citizens with diverse needs across the country, especially in the South of Asia. Madam has founded and led many organizations, including Nivedita Shishu Kendra, Nivedita Manovikas Kendra, Seva in Action, and many others in the CBR network. The focus of her work has been inclusive development. Madam is currently also the chairperson of the Global Partnership for Disability Development, the vice chairperson of National Bal Bhavan, and a former member of the National Commission for Persons with Disabilities. It's indeed an honor to have you with us, ma'am. Dr. Shanti Aulak. Dr. Shanti Aulak is the chairperson and one of the founding members of Muskan, an NGO formed by parents and professionals to provide needed services for improving the quality of life of intellectually challenged children and adults with emotional and knowledge support to the parents. Dr. Aluk has been coordinating various services that the association has been rendering to such diverse needs. Madam has been awarded as the Distinguished Woman Entrepreneur by the Consortium of Women Entrepreneurs of India in 1999. It's indeed an honor to have you in this panel discussion, ma'am. Mr. Aditya Tiwari. Mr. Aditya Tiwari, a software engineer who became the youngest single parent in the country to adopt a child with special needs, Master Avnish. Sir has since then started his own welfare society and is also constantly engaged in raising awareness about Down syndrome. Mr. Aditya is indeed a dedicated father and an inspirational figure for all of us. He has won several awards for his work, including the world's Best Supermom Award. Mr. Aditya has worked with the United Nations and is constantly supporting persons with Down syndrome to find suitable employment opportunities. We welcome you, sir, to this panel discussion.
Thank you.
Mr. Mukund Ganju. Mr. Mukund is working as an employee at CBRE Gurgaon as a marketing coordinator responsible for data entry and data management. He is a Down syndrome self-advocate who spreads the message of inclusiveness and equality at the same time, spreading awareness about Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. It's indeed a very special moment to have you with us, Mr. Mukund. Once again, welcome to this panel discussion. Now, I take the opportunity to invite Professor Dr. Jayanti Pujari, Madam, to take the session forward. Over to you, ma'am.
Once again, welcome you all. And we are very thankful to all our panelists for joining us for this August panel discussion. And today's the theme is With Us, Not For Us, Optimizing Education for an Equitable and Inclusive Society. Today is the World Down Syndrome Day, and Down syndrome, the word is very close to my heart. Maybe I have grown up as a special educator professionals by learning from the Down syndrome children. I have taught them as a youngster, maybe in early intervention, maybe in primary group, maybe also I have worked with them in the vocational training. And so such adorable persons. And mostly this Down syndrome, as you all know, it is a condition, it is not a disease. It is not yet known why this condition occurs, but Down syndrome has always been a part of the human conditions. And it exists in all religion across the globe and commonly results in variable effects on learning styles, physical characteristics, and health. Adequate access to healthcare, to early intervention programs, and to inclusive education, as well as appropriate research, are vital to the growth and development of individual with Down syndrome. The quality of life of people with Down syndrome can be improved by meeting their healthcare need, including regular checkups, health professionals, and we can promote inclusion by appropriate support to them. Individual with Down syndrome can achieve optimal quality of life, and you people are seeing the examples how they have achieved the quality of life with our panelists. And the message of With Us, Not For Us is a key to the human right based approach to the disability. And my respected panelist, this topic has been taken as the optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society to facilitate our student trainee who are the torchbearer of this inclusive education, and they must learn, they must know, they must aware about the capabilities, like given an opportunity, how they bloom, how the individual with Down syndrome they bloom, and what are their role, and how can they really work as a catalyst to improve their quality of life. With this introduction, I would like to now start the panel discussion, and I would like to request all the panelists to give their perspective on the topic, that is optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society. To start with, may I request Mr. Aditya Tiwari to give your perspective on the theme of this panel discussion. Over to you, Mr. Aditya.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for inviting, and thank you, Amity University Jayanti ma'am, for organizing this session for the awareness of people with Down syndrome. Since that is very important, because the inclusion comes from awareness, the right information, So, coming to the point on the theme about the inclusion, so see, there is a gap because of the acceptance, because of the support system we have in terms of medical, in terms of education, and uh, the way the professional break this news and the lack of professionals working in this field, though we have a huge number of people who born with medical condition. So there are various factors we need to consider when we talk about the inclusion. How we can provide support to them so they can live their life independently. Like the basic thing is right to education. As per the new education policy, as per the right to education, every child with medical conditions should get the admission in a school, but they are not. Only in the cities, big cities, there are few schools they are giving admission to them, but not across the country. And parent face very challenging to get the right to education. Second is the medical support. Like for the people with various intellectual, various medical conditions, or the people born with birth defects, they are not a part of, they are not covered under the insurance schemes. So that is another challenge. Though there is a Niramaya scheme where the cover is only just a 1 lakh rupees, but for the other treatment, it's very difficult for the parents to avail those medical support. So medical supports are not available. Therapies are not considered, and in fact, finding a good therapist is very difficult in the small cities and the rural areas. So these are the basic challenges we face. Then the accessibility. Though we have an accessible campaign in India and we are running from years, but still we are not up to the mark in terms of achieving the accessibility in the public places. Those are the another challenges. The basic thing is the disability certificate and the importance of getting the disability certificate, UDID card, unique disability ID. In fact, people are getting difficulty in getting the certificate itself, and sometimes they not put the correct percentage of the disability percentage in the disability certificate. Then the UDID card, then the schemes which are associated once the person with medical condition get the disability certificate. So we must talk about those as well. What are the employment opportunity? What are the social security for them? What are the medical support if the government is giving? And what are the income tax benefit they can get? So we need to talk about it, and we need to help the people in achieving this rights to them, because uh, again it's because of the lack of awareness, and due to the resource crunch as well in the government offices, they are not getting, and the social security is very important. So these are the things we need to focus on when we talk about the inclusive world. And of course, getting this session organized every month in all educational institute and colleges, schools, so the people must know about the life of a person with medical condition. What are the what are the different medical conditions are? What is the meaning of a Down syndrome? Why it called it as Down syndrome? What is trisomy 21? What is spectrum, autism, ADHD, cerebral palsy? There are various. In fact, if we started celebrating the days which is defined by United Nations, like, so that will be very good like approach to spread the awareness, because until if we don't talk about it, so this awareness won't come, the acceptance won't come. So we need to take the small steps and talking openly about it, accepting it. Yes, we have someone with medical condition in our family. Unfortunately, until we don't have someone with a medical condition in family, we don't talk about the medical condition. We just broadly put up in a category of a mentally retardation and physically handicapped. So this is not right. So when we do the sessions, this awareness will come and the environment will be more inclusive.
Thank you, Mr. Aditya. Such an informative. Majorly, your deliberation says that there is a gap in the implementation. Like though there are many policies are there to facilitate children with disability, persons with disability, but the gap has to. We have to cover up the gap. We have to directly facilitate the student. Thank you so much. And now, may I request Indubanti ma'am to give your perspective, ma'am, on the optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society. Over to you, ma'am. Indumata ma'am. I think Indumati ma'am has logged out or what? No. Yeah. Yes.
My video has, I'm not able to see. I don't know the reason. Anyway, I would still go ahead if it is okay without video.
Yes, ma'am. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Over to you, ma'am.
Yes. At the outset, I wish to thank Dr. Pujari and Amity University for inviting me for this important discussion on the World Day for Down Syndrome. I would like to start with, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You can see you, you can hear you also.
Yeah. Oh, you can also see me. I can't see myself. Okay, that is fine. Okay. I would like to share a story. It was way back in 1988. I was in Toronto, and I had heard so much about the People First movement in Canada. So I wanted to meet them. And the special reason for that was the entire People First movement is managed by people with disabilities, and a majority of them are youth with Down syndrome. I really wanted to learn from them, like how that is possible and why it is not possible in countries like India. So a meeting was arranged by the Queen's University, Kingston, between me and the People First Movement Secretary General. So his name is David Brown. And a young man with Down syndrome, he was around 24 or 25 years. And we started our conversation. So being a professional, and I had just completed my post-graduation from Manchester University, and reaching out to rural areas using the parent self-help groups was the main focus of my research. So I knew that I was talking to a young man with Down syndrome. So I was simplifying my questions, and I was simplifying my sentence construction, and I was going very slow so that it is easy for him to answer. But just after 10 minutes, I forgot that I was talking to a young man with Down syndrome. I felt I was talking to a person who is most knowledgeable on all issues concerning people with the intellectual disability, and his knowledge on policies, budgets was outstanding. And they had 2 seats in the Canadian Parliament. So I could not believe that how education could take those children to that level, and why our children are deprived, where they would not even see passing out even the school, leave alone entering colleges and other professional courses. So I redefined the very definition of intellectual disability. So intellectual disability, I understood from him that it is underestimation of the potential. So that is something very, very critical for everyone, both professionals as well as parents, to understand. The more we underestimate the potential, the lesser opportunities a child gets to blossom and to make optimum use of the potential. So it's very important to see and understand this part of it when we are working with children with intellectual disability and children with Down syndrome. And when we look at, say, names like Down syndrome or other things, I personally don't support labeling children. One of my book is titled Moving Away from Labels. So labeling them further disables a person. So it's also very important. We may get some short-term identity by labels, but in the long term, labels really hurts children. So it's very important to see that inclusion, and the chapter 6 of the National Education Policy. Fortunately, I was also part of the Ministry of Education, the advisory board called CADE. So the equitable inclusive education really looks at celebrating the diversities. So that is the key message. So each child is unique, in terms of inherent potential, in terms of preferred style of learning. And it is very, very important to understand that no two children on this earth are same. So it is a diversity celebration, and in that diversity, children, youth, and also now all those theories of life expectancy and all that has been proven wrong. I see a large number of youth with Down syndrome even moving to 50s and 60s. So we are seeing that because of advanced medical care. So Down syndrome, I would say that all that they need is the opportunities. But as Mr. Tiwari said, we have a long way to go in accepting children with diverse needs. And because there is a positive policy, but translating from policies to practices, there are huge gaps. And a majority of children, they live in rural areas. And it is a fact, indeed, even as on today, that 80% of support is available in big cities and urban areas, and nothing much available at the panchayat level, at the school level. So we are talking of a very big challenge, but inclusion has benefit. With the inclusion at the physical level makes a child happy, at social level it makes happy. If a child can also learn and benefit, it is immensely beneficial. And social inclusion is something which happens with a good teacher with a good heart. So more than any training, MAs or PhDs, I would look at a teacher with a good heart can do magic for children with disabilities in general and with intellectual disabilities in particular. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. In front of me, there is a group of teacher trainee, and your message will definitely has reached them, and they will be really a torchbearer in this field. And madam, very well said that you have told that lesser opportunities, lesser empowerment, and that is only we all should work out that we should not underestimate the potential. And also you have very clearly brought out that gap between the policy and practices. Thank you so much for bringing out the important areas of this optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society. And thank you, ma'am. And I welcome Dr. Shanti Aluk ma'am also now, who has joined with us. And before, ma'am, with your permission, before we take your view on this optimizing education for equitable and inclusive society, may we run the film of Muskan, and then we can go ahead with with your permission. Shall we run the film, ma'am?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Jayanti, please go ahead.
मेरा नाम आरुषि कार्तिक है। मैं डाटा एंट्री में काम करती हूँ।
पुलिस अलग है, मैं रेफर में काम करता हूँ। मेरा नाम मुकुंद नंदू है, मैं यहाँ पे काम करता हूँ। थैंक यू।
What does the employment or work opportunity does to us? It gives us a sense of accomplishment. It gives us opportunity to build so many relationships. We are able to earn our money, and also it gives us a responsible role.
In the community of the disabled, people with intellectual disabilities or ID are the most marginalized. They get stigmatized because of the ignorance of others and are often viewed as a social and economic burden. society considers them to be incapable of doing any meaningful task. Muskaan thinks otherwise. Muskaan was set up in 1982 in New Delhi by a group of parents and professionals who found a distressing lack of facilities for their children with ID. That initiative grew into today's Muskaan, a voluntary not-for-profit organization well known for providing comprehensive education and training to adults with ID. And we have been creating training and employment opportunities for them for the last 3 decades. Over the years, we have developed 3 sustainable models for the employment of adults across the ID spectrum. 1. Supported mainstream employment. 2. Supported employment within Muskaan. And 3. Special employment within Muskaan for those with high support needs. For supported mainstream employment, we facilitate and assist business enterprises to employ people with ID. We ensure the best fit between the person, the nature of the work, and the organization. We help sensitize the other employees who will become colleagues of the people with ID.
So what I would like to share with the employers is that they are very committed, loyal, and responsible employees. And one great thing happens, they humanize the environment. They can do many jobs in any organization and simple jobs. And I think many organizations have those kind of jobs.
A recent success has been our partnership with Lemon Tree and Red Fox Hotels, where people with ID are working efficiently and effectively alongside their colleagues.
What my experience has been is that they work with great focus, they're perfectionists in fact, and they will always deliver the service exactly as it needs to be done. And from a hotel's perspective, this is really good for the brand.
CBRE employs people with ID in the work of data entry. This experiment too has proved to be a success story.
It's not only in terms of them adding a lot of positivity to the environment, it's a kind of value they add to the work. Yes, you need to tell them what needs to be done, but if you brief them properly, the work gets done to the T.
We now come to our second sustainable model, supported employment within Muskaan. In our busy, bustling work centers, you will find people with ID producing a vast array of products of the highest quality. Some products require fine hand-eye coordination. Some require working with machines using simple technologies, while some are akin to assembly line production. The work environment is designed to match their needs and abilities. The tasks are simplified, adapted, and structured so that each person is fully engaged, productive, and comfortable. We have found that they are extremely conscious of targets, timelines, and quality standards. They thrive when given responsibilities. They work very well in teams, and their joy of creation is infectious. In our third sustainable model, people with high support needs find gainful engagement with work, though simpler in nature. Here too, we select and adapt the production process and carefully design the training program. These diligent workers are trained for tasks that are simple, yet beautiful products emerge from their hands. Products that are bought by large corporates, mainstream institutions, and individuals purely for their quality and consistent standards. Being able to work and earn transforms the lives of people with ID and their families. Their personalities blossom, they communicate better, their social skills improve, and most of all, they gain self-esteem, just like you and me. People with ID deserve to be employed. They only need the right platform and the right training. We at Muskaan are happy to give both. Muskan, towards a life of dignity.
That was indeed a very inspirational and very motivating video for all the teacher trainees and participants who are with us, respected Dr. Shanti ma'am today. And I'm very sure they have learned a lot from this video presentation. In fact, very rightly it was pointed out in the video that give us an opportunity and we will showcase you what we can do. A very powerful message indeed. Respected Shanti ma'am, now I would request you to kindly share your expert views on the theme of this panel discussion, that is optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Very loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak to so many students and faculty of MIT University. Equitable society and inclusive education, or inclusive opportunities, I would say, including education, they are complementary to each other. Because when we provide growth opportunities, should I speak in Hindi or English?
Ma'am, anything which is convenient to you, both bilingual is also very.
Okay. So, when we talk about the growth opportunities, that's what everybody in the society needs, whatever is the ability level. That means, and as we know, human mind is designed for learning, which means provided the opportunities, we all learn at our own paces, in our own direction, along with our own interests, but there are some basic skills all of us need to acquire. And this education and training, we all know, plays tremendous role in our development. I remember when I was a very young person, I always used to question myself, what is the purpose of education? And slowly I realized it is making me think much better, much more clearly, much more diversely, and much more extensively. And that is what, and learn so many skills which are needed to live everyday life. So, unfortunately, what is happening is that people with intellectual disability, Down syndrome is one of the conditions which entails intellectual disability, and then there are many other such conditions. So, people with intellectual disability, their capacities are so much underestimated. As Dr. Rao said earlier, underestimation is the problem. And it is so unjust that because of the prejudices of the society, we do not let some people grow because the society thinks that they cannot learn. And when we recognize this kind of a prejudice which is prevailing in the society, we will create, in fact, the education. You see, by and large, what happens is we carry in our mind a notion that education means academic skills. Of course, academic skills are there, but there are many other skills. There are cognitive skills, there are emotional skills, there are work-related skills, there are social skills, and the people with intellectual disability require the education which helps them grow, rather than simply focusing on reading and writing. I'm not underestimating the value of reading and writing, but there are many other areas which need to be. And if we provide that kind of equitable opportunity, society automatically become more just, more fair, more inclusive in their in their interaction, in their notions, and including diverse kind of people into the fabric of the society. And what I have learned is, in my own life, that when we work with people who have diverse kind of needs, it enriches our lives so much because it opens up our ways of thinking about people, about learning, about life as such. So, what I feel is that it is high time that we have a right kind of focus in our education for people with intellectual disability, and provide opportunities so they grow up nicely with a lot of confidence, with the skills which are required in everyday life, with opportunities for employment, with opportunities for many other things which are part of everybody's life. I also would reiterate one more thing, which Dr. Rao said, Induvati Rao said, that what it means whenever we are working with, in education, I'm saying, in education training, and of course, in many other situations, whenever we are working with people who have different, diverse kind of needs, and which require more imagination as compared to teaching typically growing children, that the teacher needs to develop what we say compassionate heart. A good heart is very much required besides knowledge and skills to be able to make differences in the life of our students. And ultimately, what a teacher does is it shapes a person to live, to enable him or her to live life fully.
Thank you, Dr. Shanti ma'am, for sharing your expertise and your perspectives on the theme of this panel discussion. Indeed, very motivating and inspirational words for us. Now is the time to invite a very special panelist who is there with us, Mr. Mukund Ganju. And he is a self-advocate on Down syndrome and employee of CBRE. Mr. Mukund, we welcome you to this panel discussion. A huge round of applause for Mukund. And the question for Mr. Mukund is, please share your experiences as an employee at CBRE. Mr. Mukund, the mic is yours.
Thank you so much. I'm Mridula. Good evening to all. I'm going to facilitate Mukund's presentation, and we are presenting a PowerPoint which is made by Mukund himself. So I would like to share his PowerPoint. सबको नमस्ते कहेंगे। नमस्ते। आप अपने आप को इंट्रोड्यूस करेंगे प्लीज।
Hi, I am Ganju. I am a 23-year-old. am an or I am working in CBRE office with my marketing team.
What he's saying is that he's working in CBRE and he's working as a marketing coordinator since last 5 years. Mukund, what kind of work do you do at CBRE?
Oh, I do data entry, work from data, the client putting the car in Excel. I help my team, the client report in for activity.
Where did you get the training for doing data entry, Mukund?
Oh, I joined the very school after finish. I am joined in 2015 and I complete the data courses in 2017.
2017. Who were your teachers at Muskaan?
Or
can you please tell us the name of your teachers taught you data entry at Muskaan?
Data entry teach me Srikota ma'am to the code.
Yeah, so what he's saying is that data entry he was trained in data entry at Muskaan by his teacher Shagufta ma'am. Mukund, अभी भी क्या आपको शगुफ्ता मैम हेल्प करती है काम करने में? और कब करती है शगुफ्ता मैम आपको हेल्प कब करती है काम करने में?
क्योंकि शगुफ्ता मैम भी मेरा प्रोजेक्ट कंप्लीट करते उसके बाद ट्रेनिंग करते उसके बाद मुझे दिवाली में मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा
और आपने काम का और आपके अचीवमेंट्स क्या रहे हैं सीबीआरई में?
हाँ, I have done 10,000 data entry with CBRE machine line way.
और ये जो नया प्रोजेक्ट आप कर रहे हो इसमें आपको कौन कौन हेल्प करता है?
और हेल्प शिगुप्ता मैम भी मुझे
शिगुप्ता मैम आपको कैसे हेल्प करती है? आप यहाँ आते हैं या शिगुप्ता मैम आपके पास ऑफिस में आती है?
तो मैम भी आते हैं ऑफिस, वो टीम बुलाती है,
वो ऑफिस में आकर आपको हेल्प करती है। और आपको ये नया प्रोजेक्ट समझ में आ रहा है?
हाँ,
समझ में आ रहा है? शिगुप्ता मैम की हेल्प से समझ में आ रहा है? और बाकी समय आप ऑफिस में क्या करते हैं?
हाँ, मैं I enjoy my birthday or I enjoy my friend in the team and I enjoy the party or fun activity.
आप क्या क्या करते हैं जब आपका बर्थडे होता है?
तो मैं I love and dancing in
आपको डांस करना अच्छा लगता है, पार्टी करना अच्छा लगता है, और आपके फ्रेंड्स के साथ और क्या करना अच्छा लगता है?
I am a trained dancing in Tamil Tower.
अच्छा, आपने ट्रेनिंग लिया है शामल टावर के यहाँ से डांस का? फिर आप अपने नए मूव्स सिखाते हैं फ्रेंड्स को सीबीआरई में?
हाँ,
उनको अच्छा लगता है?
हाँ, ये
ओके। और आप ये बताओ,
अब आप my hobby in CBRE.
This is your office in CBRE, and here you work and you also enjoy going to office and celebrating your birthday. ये क्या कर रहे हैं? ये क्या हो रहा है?
CBRE celebrate work with event together Muskaan and CBRE.
ये इवेंट हुआ था मुस्कान और सीबीआरई का साथ में, और हम सब साथ में अवेयरनेस वॉक के लिए गए थे, ठीक है? यस। अच्छा, ये बताओ, व्हाट आर योर एस्पिरेशंस फॉर फ्यूचर? व्हाट वुड यू लाइक टू डू इन फ्यूचर?
मुझे अच्छा काम करना है।
हाँ जी।
और मुझे अच्छा सैलरी कमाना है।
अच्छा सैलरी कमाना है, वेरी गुड।
मैं भी अच्छा बिजनेसमैन हूँ।
अच्छा बिजनेसमैन है आप। और आपको बाकी कलीग्स से क्या चाहिए?
मैं टीम के साथ अवार्ड के लिए चाहिए।
आपको अवार्ड्स भी चाहिए जैसे आपके कलीग्स को मिले हैं। ओके, और उसके लिए आप क्या क्या करते हैं?
मैं अच्छा करता हूँ,
काम अच्छा करते हैं, और
मैं काम में फोकस भी होता हूँ।
काम में फोकस रहते हैं, वेरी गुड मुकुंद। अच्छा, अब ये है कि हमें इतने सारे लोग देख रहे हैं, एमआईटी यूनिवर्सिटी के स्टूडेंट्स भी हैं, प्रोफेसर्स भी हैं, बाहर के लोग हैं, तो आप उनको क्या बताना चाहेंगे? आप क्या स्पेशल मैसेज देना चाहेंगे?
मैं आप अच्छा काम करो, love your work,
yes, love your work,
and do focus the work,
do focused work, very good,
and enjoy every day, all year,
every day, enjoy every day,
and be happy always.
Yeah. And can you please say thank you to everyone? Thank you everyone for being with us and going through our journey together. Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was a wonderful presentation by Mr. Mukund. मुकुंद, डेफिनेटली हम सभी को आपके काम के बारे में जानकर, आपके टीचर्स के बारे में जानकर, आपके हॉबीज के बारे में जानकर बहुत अच्छा लगा. And it was a very special message shared by you. Be happy, focus on your work and enjoy every day. हम सभी के तरफ से आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई and best wishes for a very very successful future. आपको बहुत सारे अवार्ड्स मिले, आपको बहुत अच्छी सैलरी मिले और आप बहुत अच्छा काम करें. And also Mridula ma'am, thank you for joining us, and you are a very inspirational mother, caregiver, teacher in fact for all of us, and it's lovely to see you facilitate Mr. Mukund. Thank you also for joining us today. Now I invite Professor Dr. Jayanti ma'am to carry the session forward.
Yeah, before we go forward, students, anybody has any question to ask? Do you have any question? Anyone has any questions to ask? No? Okay. Well, reserve your question. At the end, you can ask to all the panelists. Okay. So, ma'am, now we will move forward for the question answer session. And I would like to request Indubanti ma'am. Ma'am, you have done so much work in the CBR. And CBR, as we know, community-based rehabilitation in Indian condition is the ultimate rehabilitation for persons with developmental disability at least. So can you please, ma'am, highlight the role of community and what are the new prospective teachers? How can they work to facilitate the CBR for the individual with disability? Over to you, ma'am. Indumati ma'am.
Thank you. That's a very loaded question. See, we all know we are living in a country, and I would also talk for the most of the countries, not only the South Asia, as I had an opportunity to work as the chairperson for the World Bank initiated Global Partnership for Disability and Development. In most of the countries, a majority of people with disabilities live in remote areas. You call it remote or rural or tribal or hilly areas, but they all live in remote areas. And in most of the places, the paradox is majority of services, generally they are initiated by committed parents and they are educated and they are in urban areas. And we don't see much of services in rural areas. So community-based rehabilitation looks at not to disintegrate a child away from the family and community, because a child with or without disability is a child first. Disability, everything comes next. So it's very important for a child to enjoy the love, affection and family bond. So it's very important to reach out to community, and instead of going as visitors through outreach programs, we say community-based rehabilitation work in close partnership with the community, but transferring the knowledge, skills, information, whatever we have, in simple and locally, culturally appropriate terms, so that then it is more acceptable and sustainable. So community-based rehabilitation uses a lot of technology, which is the state-of-the-art technology, latest technology, by simplifying technology and reaching out to parents, by forming self-help mutual support groups in villages, and through early intervention with programs like Portage. Many of you who know me also have heard about this CBR Portage, where I have Indianized, ruralized Portage. So it's very important to give the knowledge and skills to the stakeholders, that is the parents, and the next is the Anganwadi workers and teachers. So it's very important. Jayanti ji, with your permission, though I'm a very grassroots level CBR person, I will also switch over the need for technology interface for equitable inclusive education. So one of the drawbacks what we see, which is coming in the way of equitable inclusion, is the lack of gamification of curriculum opportunities. There is hardly any gamification of curriculum that is available. So it's very important to see that the technology interface, instead of looking the first generation technologies like ramps and braille and other things, we have to move to the advanced technology facilities that are available. And recently, I'm happy with the support of Amazon. We could introduce the multi-utility learning stations in government schools or for a cluster of schools, and gamification of curriculum, and taking the accessibility to the next level of accessibility, of using the technology-based accessibility, is something which is really going to open a lot of opportunities where the disabilities and any limitations, it could be sensory or intellectual or physical, all that can be really looked at in a way where technology will be supportive and complementary to learners. So I don't know whether we have time, otherwise I have a very small movie clipping on Learning Station. If there is a time, I just want to show it, otherwise I can share with Jayanti ji, who can share it with everyone later. So we have written a handbook, and Government of Karnataka is starting learning stations in 50 public schools. UNICEF has recognized this as a strategic way forward, and Nagaland government is looking at expanding learning stations. So gamification is what is going to really help equitable inclusive education, and that is very much needed for all children and all children with disabilities, and especially children with intellectual disabilities and children with moderate learning difficulties. I would put children with Down syndrome at that level can benefit immensely in all aspects, including in the curricular aspects of the entire education, so that inclusion happens at physical level, social level, and functional level, so that it becomes meaningful rather than just going to school just to learn something which is of no use and no relevance to life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And very appropriately, you have drawn that the role of technology. And as we all know that the curricular aspect, like when we are, like India is proceeding towards inclusive education, inclusive society, equitable society, but the main crunch is the curriculum. We are putting our students in the regular school, but are we ready with the curriculum for that? And for that, the answer is really this gamification of curriculum. I think it will really solve the purpose, so that our, at least for our developmental disability, it will be really they can empower and they can improve their educational opportunity, I feel, ma'am.
For all children, when we talk about equitable inclusive education, we have to look at all learners in the classroom. So it's going to benefit each and every child in the classroom, each and every child, including children. NEP talks about SEDG, socially economically disadvantaged groups, where children with disabilities are part of it. They are going to benefit immensely with the gamification. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. And we will take the question after the question answer session of for all the panelists. Now, may I request Dr. Shanti Aluk, ma'am? Ma'am, like how can we support persons with Down syndrome to achieve independent and productive life? Like through your premier organization, Muskan, you have success stories of many children who are individual with Down syndrome. So what is your what is your advice to this our 21st century special educators, in which way they should work, that they should help in achieving independent and productive life of students with developmental disability, especially with Down syndrome?
Yeah. You see, what I feel is that we have to take out from our mind all the time disability. I think any child or adult with whom we are interaction and helping and learning is the same in the emotional needs, the work related skills, the social needs, the need to become confident every day, becoming more self-reliant in everyday life, and along with that, the cognitive skills. And cognitive skills simply said कि सोचने और समझने की शक्ति को बढ़ाना. So, what I feel is that the focus of education should be developing these kind of skills. And what I have seen is that when we are working, and even in other, typically growing children, we do the same. But only thing is, there are systems for them to grow in all these directions. Whereas when there is some kind of learning difficulty, we need to design systems so that it can be done. For example, I can tell you one example. That, see, if the child has difficulty in comprehending, and it will happen, so how do I explain to the child so that he or she understands the situation, understands his or her own needs, and understands that what is expected of him. Now, this will not automatically happen. We will have to assess the child in terms of explaining all these things, that why I am asking it, what I am asking it, when you are supposed to do these kind of things, when you are not supposed to do this kind of behavior. So this kind of explanation, what we call developing cognition, and then the emotional needs. Now, emotional well-being, I have seen a child or a growing person, when he is emotionally secure and feels good about himself, his or her learning capacity increases, and at the same time, the behavior difficulties which often people come across, they slowly go away. So, the attending to various kind of needs that the person has in terms of growing up. Now, we have to design our curriculum in such a way so that we address those kind of needs. And much of learning, we have to, another thing happens, often families are not taken into account by the people who are working with our children. I think family education or family training is very, very important if we really want a wholesome development of our children. So somehow, wherever such kind of interactions are going on, I think family interaction should be a component. And I'm not sure how much our special educators who are getting these kind of training, how much they are sensitized about the family needs
and also various kind of prejudices that family, various kind of utilitarian attitudes that family may be entertaining, and which puts a block in the development of the person. So I feel that parents and teachers, they have to work together, and I'm sure that you see, we don't have to approach them as a kind of that I'm telling you or I'm providing therapy to your child, but rather that you and me together, when we will work, and these are the various areas, and this is how we can, assist our child in his or her growth, then this person will grow up very nicely, will become much more self-reliant, will become much more emotionally stable, will be able to become a productive member within the family, as well as in employment situation, whether it is self-employment or supported employment or mainstream employment. So I feel that we have to recognize the areas where inputs are required, and I always feel that teaching people who have little diverse kind of needs is a very creative process. Is a very creative process, and teachers have a wonderful project in their hand to make the lives of the people, and along with that to enrich the lives of the families.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And very well said that the main is the developing the cognition. With this, they have like they can develop their other domains also. And very rightly you have pointed out, for the other students, the system is readily available. But for these people, we have to make the system, and to make the system, the teachers are the perspective teachers are the have to play key role in developing the system. Thank you so much.
I would just like to add one thing. I'm discovering so many, I would say examples where our children are surprising us that they are thinking in such advanced way. For example, I'll share one personal example that my son had undergone spine surgery around 4 years back. And naturally, I was very worried and anxious. And after the surgery, I was in his room in the hospital. Looking at me, he said, Mom, आप बहुत थके हुए लग रहे हो, जाओ सो जाओ. I was taken aback that this person who himself is undergoing so much of discomfort, he's looking at me, he's looking at my reaction, my face, and realizing that my mother is not feeling well. Now, so much human sensitivity is there in our children, and we have to allow that kind of environment to happen so that they can flourish. And one more thing I would like to say, they really teach us how to live life and how to love.
Yes, ma'am. That is very true that we have to allow them. It is not that they should be judgmental, like they should not go by their any certificate and all. That always we tell our students also. Very well said, ma'am. Thank you so much. Now I hand over to Sampunna for any queries from the audience.
That was a very engaging, very inspiring, and a true learning experience in the panel discussion. And now a very important phase in the panel discussion has arrived when we have the audience questions. So to all the panelists, we have 2 students who have come up with very pertinent questions. So I would first invite Ms. Shreya, student of Integrated B.Ed.M.Ed SLD program, semester 2, to ask her question to the panelists. Ms. Shreya, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, ma'am. My question is to Dr. Indumati, madam. How can we make curriculum more interactive?
Yes, I would, with no offense to students or universities, but I must share that whenever we ask the question, where does the curriculum comes from? So invariably, we don't get right answer from students. So it's very, very important for students to go to the root of the curriculum to understand where exactly it comes from. The second question, of course, I am answering your question with more questions. The second question is, I also want all students to go deeper into understanding the terms like curriculum and syllabus or syllabi, what exactly they mean, because we also see a lot of mixed up understanding of these terms, and all this has huge implication. Why I am saying so is the entire education, if we are looking at the learner centered, it is very important for teachers to play with the curriculum and to look at the curricular policies. What kind of play a teacher can make, which needs a lot of things, a lot of skills on looking at the curriculum, adapting, modifying, so strengthening. So all that a teacher should be very well versed with the curriculum in order to look at the content, method, materials, and adaptations, so that the curriculum becomes tailor-made, because the ready-made curriculum will not serve the purpose of inclusive education. A child is expected to fit into the curriculum, and it is either loose or it is small. It never is tailor-made. But a curriculum should be more like a lady's blouse, which is tailor-made for individual needs. We don't buy ready-made blouses. So it's very important for the teacher to know where to fit the curriculum so that it becomes learner-centered for each and every learner. So that is something very important. So it is when we are looking at the entire inclusive education, even special education, unless the curriculum becomes learner-centered, using a curriculum which is prescribed, because we in many countries we have prescriptive curricular policies. There are countries where there is open curricular policies, where schools, they develop their own curriculum. So it is not the government prescribing the curriculum, but the schools, they develop their own curriculum and they work towards that curriculum. And that curriculum is always relevant to the learners in schools and to the neighborhood or the local areas. So in India, of course, it was very prescriptive earlier, all because of Meghalaya, where we were handed over certain educational policies. So, but now we are slowly moving up and opening up, but still education is a concurrent subject, and disability is a state subject. We also need to understand the Constitution and see that the dynamics of Constitution, how it affects the teacher in the classroom. So I want you to go deeper into that and make curriculum, whatever may be the curriculum, whether state or CBSE or central or special or not so special, anything, just make it learner-centered. And that needs a lot of skills, and I hope teachers are competent to do that. And unless we make curriculum which is learner-centered, it should be relevant to each and every learner in the classroom. Unless that happens, equitable and inclusive education remains a dream. So this is where I feel the learning stations have been used in many countries like Norway, Sweden, Canada, US for almost since 1988. I have been seeing learning stations, but unfortunately in India that idea has not penetrated. But now with NEP, we are banking on NEP, piggyback on NEP, that every school should have a learning station. Every cluster of schools should have a learning station. And learning station will make curriculum learner-centered. Since we have a shortage of time, I can't go on with what learning stations, multi-utility learning stations are, how they will be supportive to develop a curriculum which is learner-centered. All that I can share with you maybe later once you send me an email. I will type my email ID here. Please feel free to communicate with me. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Shreya. And now, respected panelists, we have one more question from one more student of AIRS, Ms. Muskan. She is the student of Integrated B.Ed MEd Intellectual Disability Semester 2. So now I would request Ms. Muskan to ask her question.
Good evening, ma'am. I would like to ask you, Dr. Shanti, ma'am, that how can we as a special educator support parents of children with Down syndrome?
I have seen two things are very much, they encourage parents. One is that you value the child, you value the person. And the second thing is that you understand the needs of the family in terms of, what kind of development would help, what kind of development in the child would help the family to deal with the whole situation. Now, in this process, the first is value. I tell you, it gives so much of satisfaction and a good feeling when your child is valued by the teacher, though everywhere else the parents face a certain kind of a stare or shunning or all kinds of negative attitudes. That is one. The second is, you see, understanding the needs of the child, the needs of the family. And in the process, we also get opportunity to make the parents think and expand their understanding that what kind of skill, what kind of training is going to help the child in his development, in what way it will help, and how the family is going to be helped by that kind of, for example, behavior and there's or discipline. Now, it is important for the families to understand that disciplining the child is important. But how to discipline is, how much time it is going to take place, whether one should be, relentless in following it up, and so on. So there are many confusions that parents carry. So the special educator can help the family to think in the right direction so that they become contributor towards the real growth of the child. My experience has been that wherever the parents, the family attitude is good, the child shows so much more development. So that is where we have to work with the families and of course with the child also. And that's very much valued, very much valued. I tell you, we have in Muskan, we have a system that whenever new parents join us or their children are getting admission into Muskan, we have 2 days sharing sessions with all the parents, and various areas we talk about, and we also take their questions, what they would like to know, and we share. They share their own experiences and we share our own learning experiences. So in that sense, I realize that our job really becomes very useful when we provide such opportunities to parents also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Muskan. In fact, Dr. Shanti ma'am, I would just like to point out a very lovely coincidence which I just happened to see. You were being asked a question by Ms. Muskan, and the question was directed to the founder of the Muskan group. So that was a wonderful coincidence.
I know. Is it Muskan Sachdeva? Can I know the full name of the student?
Yeah, ma'am, the student will answer.
Ma'am, it's Muskan Bhadana.
Okay, okay. So it's nice talking to you, Muskan. Muskan is a what should I say? It has given a direction to our institute that we all can spread so much of happiness around us.
Muskan.
So that was a lovely round of questions, very, very knowledgeable, inspiring, and engaging panel discussion. And like all good things come to an end, we are also moving towards the end of this very engaging panel discussion on a very important topic that is with us optimizing education for an equitable and inclusive society. So, before ending, I would take this opportunity to quickly summarize the very important points which have been shared by all our respected panelists who have joined us today. Mr. Aditya Tiwari, sir, shared the journey that he had, the obstacles that he had to overcome while adopting Mr. Master Avnish, and he also mentioned some of the issues and challenges still plaguing the field of special education and how it is important to organize such events to create awareness about Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. Dr. Indumati Madam very pertinently mentioned the importance to organize and have the self-help groups and parent groups to promote support and service to persons with disabilities, promote mainstreaming and inclusion. He also mentioned that inclusion should be made more meaningful and accessible, and gamification of the curriculum should be given importance. Dr. Shanti Olok Madam shared the importance of having role models in teachers and also the importance of involving families. And a lovely video presentation was made on the organization of Muskan and the various platforms it offers to persons with Down syndrome and other developmental disabilities. And last but not least, we have the message, a wonderful message shared by Mr. Mukund Ganju. That is a very summary of today's important panel discussion. Once again, I would like to reiterate, focus on life, enjoy every day, and be happy. A wonderful message left to us by Mr. Mukund Ganju. So big round of applause for all the panelists, and our teacher trainees are very much inspired to hear this and be a part of this panel discussion. And I would take this formal opportunity to formally thank all the respected panelists, Mr. Aditya Tiwari, India's youngest single adoptive father, Dr. Shanti Aluk Madam, Chairperson and founder, Muskan, Dr. Pati Rao Madam, Regional Advisor, CBR Network, Bangalore, and of course,
Another online session.
and employee at CBRE for joining us for this panel discussion. We all learned a lot, and we also thank respected Professor Dr. Jayanti Pujari Madam, Director AIRS, for moderating this event, and all the students for asking their queries. Thank you once again, respected panelists.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And with this, we close the panel discussion. Ma'am, we are taking your permission to close the panel discussion. We are now closing the panel discussion, and a very good evening to all the Nishtha for carrying the sessions forward.
Thank you, ma'am. Now let's hear about early identification and risk assessment technique called the Babinski reflex. Ms. Simran and Mr. Niranjan, students of Integrated B.Ed M.Ed ID Semester 2.
और हमारी एक वीडियो भी थी
Hello. Mom, is it audible? The earliest days of a child's life are critical as it determines a child's survival and thriving in life. It also lays the foundation for one's learning and holistic development. Today, we celebrate World Down Syndrome Day by talking about early identification and risk assessment technique that can help us detect a risk of an underlying neurological disability.
So, early detection and identification refers to the process of recognizing any disability or developmental variation in early childhood years. Early detection of rare and life threatening conditions improves access to clinical trials and early treatment. It helps to identify children who may need a early screening or a diagnostic assessment.
The family, and especially the mother, plays a significant role in the early identification of a disability. Abnormalities in physical, sensory, and cognitive development may become obvious to the meticulous eyes of the mother much earlier than a clinical diagnosis can be made. Early detection and intervention can support and manage several disabilities, reducing the adverse impact of the disability on the family.
Reflexes are responses that occur when the body receives a certain stimulus. Babinski reflex is one of the normal reflexes in infants. The Babinski reflex occurs after the sole of the foot has been firmly stroked. The big toe then moves upward or towards the surface of the foot. The other toes fan out. This reflex is normal in children up to 2 year old. It disappears as the child gets older. It may disappear as early as 12 months.
The Babinski reflex was described by the neurologist Joseph Babinski in 1899. Since that time, it has been incorporated into the standard neurological examination. The Babinski reflex is easy to elicit without sophisticated equipments. Since it is a reflex, it does not require active participation and therefore can be performed in children who are otherwise unable to cooperate with the neurological exam.
Reflex testing technique. Uh, to test this technique, we use a dull or a blunt instrument that does not cause pain or injury. The first line to be stroked begins a few centimeters distal to the heel. The line extends to a point just behind the toes and then turns medially across the transverse arc of the foot. Stroke slowly, taking 5 or 6 seconds to complete the motion.
Here's a video that shows the technique.
Can we play?
So can we just play the video? Here's the technique.
Testing the Babinski reflex in infants. The Babinski reflex can be tested in infants by firmly stroking the sole of the foot with a finger or a blunt object along the lateral side from the heel to the toes. Typically in infants, a tonic dorsiflexion of the big toe as well as a plantar flexion and spreading of the small toes occur together. This is known as the Babinski sign and is physiologically present in infants until between 12 and 24 months of age. Afterwards, the sign may indicate damage to the corticospinal tract.
So, there are two responses as shown in the image. The fanning out of the toes is considered normal till the age of 2 years in a child. After 2 years, the continuity of the reflex is indicative of a risk factor or developmental disabilities.
After 2 years, the Babinski reflex disappears gradually as shown in the image, indicative of absence of a disability.
One second. So, the Babinski reflex is a part of the routine neurological examination utilized to determine the integrity of the corticospinal tract. The presence of a Babinski sign suggests the damage to the CST, as the CST fiber tracts run from the brain through the brainstem and into the spinal cord, lesion of the central nervous system, affecting the integrity of the CST. Thus, the existence of the Babinski reflex provides useful information on the presence or absence of pathology affecting the CNS.
A central nervous system includes the brain joining the spinal cord through the brainstem.
When a Babinski reflex is present in a child older than 2 years or in an adult, it is often a sign of a central nervous system disorder. Disorders may include amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, brain tumor or injury, meningitis, multiple sclerosis, spinal cord injury, defect or tumor, stroke, neurodegenerative diseases.
The Babinski reflex is primarily used in settings where there is a suspicion of spinal cord injury or stroke. It may be an early indicator of a presence of an emergency condition. Early detection is the best protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Niranjan and Simran, for this informative session. Now we would like to invite Ms. Divya Tiwari and Ms. Pragati Dikshit of Integrated B.Ed.M.Ed SLE, Semester 2, for conducting some fun activities for the audience.
Students, please be seated. Just take 5 to 7 minutes, the last activity, and then you can go home. Before beginning this, let me tell you the instructions, what Divya and Miss Pragati are going to do. So, for you people, I think you're the audience here. So, Miss Divya and Miss Pragati will be distributing chits to everyone containing positive words. Students will speak about the positive words. So, please actively participate in the activity. Okay, I think everyone has those chits, and there are some qualities or positive words written on it. So, people who have these chits, can you please raise your hands? Please actively participate in this activity because this activity is for audience.
Yes. What is the quality written in your chit?
Empathy. Can you be audible or do you want to come here? Okay. So I'll ask you a question and I want your thoughts on the word. When was the last time on empathy? When was the last time someone was able to truly understand you, and how did that make you feel? Please be audible. Can you come here? Just be audible. It is. Just be audible. Be a little louder. That's it. Is it audible to everyone? They are not. You can come here, Swati, and speak.
Please, so it was my family friend who showed so much empathy on me on a family situation. I was having a worse family situation, and there she stood by me and she really understood and she really supported me. So that was the last time.
Next time when someone will be like needing you, you will be there for them.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you for sharing your Anyone else with us? Anyone else? These are the qualities that you hold. You are special one. What are the qualities that you hold? Can you tell us? Acha, you are a happy person, that means. Can you come here? We have a question to ask. She is a happy person. She holds the quality of happy.
Yes.
Show it to everyone, please.
So happy it is.
So I would like to ask, how do you make others happy?
So what I try to do is I try to greet everybody with a smile and I tell them that they are beautiful and strong.
Wow. Please
give a big
round
of applause for
Such a
Swati.
beautiful answer. Thank you, Swati.
Anyone would be happy
Anyone?
hearing compliments.
Who is holding a beautiful? Please come.
What was the word?
What is the quality? Inspire. Wow.
What inspires you?
For me, inspiration is my teachers and all my mates that inspire me, motivate me to participate in everything. And that's why I had choose to come here. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your experience. Please give her a big round of applause. Anyone else who holds such a beautiful and an exceptional quality? You have a word?
If you have a chit, can you please raise
You
your
have
hand?
a chit, you can raise your hand. That is the quality that you hold. Who's creativity? Who is that? Who is the person? Creative person.
Please give a big round of applause for Muskan.
We have a question for you. Mention your creativity and how it helps others.
Okay. So firstly, I would tell that my teachers inspire me to be creative, and there are so many creative. Just like I like to study, so it is the best. Just like so, my teachers inspire to be creative. So
You can speak in Hindi as well. Whatever
yeah,
you like.
Sure.
You can speak in Hindi. as well.
Yeah.
You want to share your creativity side as well?
Yes. Do you want to come again?
You can. You can. Thank you for sharing your experience. Okay, thank you. Point taken. Another word is unique. What is the unique quality in you that brings a change in your surrounding?
That I am a happy person. Yes, that makes others too happy, and I am very positive.
Wow.
And I always try to be positive in life. So that's my unique quality.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great qualities.
Anyone
else?
from this
Anyone
area?
else from this side?
Faryal?
Holding a special quality in
Faryal?
themselves. Please come, please come. Ma'am, she wants to speak. What is the quality that you hold? That special word you had? Huh? Oh, you are a brave person. Wow, give her a big round of applause. She is such a brave person. We have a question for you as well. When was the last time you were brave? Was it for yourself or for someone else?
Well, there are certain incidents that I fought for myself and for others also. And I don't remember the recent ones, and I do it very openly, but I can tell you the first one. So when I was born, I was a premature baby.
Okay.
So I fought back for my life and became stronger.
Wow! Give her a big round of applause. Such a beautiful answer. Thank you. Thank you for sharing it with us. Anyone else? Quality or shit that they hold that makes them special? Okay, thank you all for sharing your experiences. Today we all saw that how we can apply these values in our lives and in the lives of others. Application of such values will enrich our lives and activate us to greater heights of actualized living. Thank you so much. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you so much for being very patient, audience. Thank you and have a nice day. Please stay safe till then. Good day. Goodbye.